What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to No Limit Sports Talk, and today we got the start of a new series, which is my way too early power rankings of the NFL teams. Basically, no draft, no free agency. What if the season started tomorrow? These are my power rankings for these teams. Obviously, I'm going to be making a post NFL offseason power ranking list and comparing it to this one, seeing the changes that I made, of course, past the draft, free agency, all that good stuff. So we're going to get straight into it. And starting off with the Houston Texans at number 32. I think that this is a pretty obvious one. Texans are more than likely tanking, so even if they do keep Deshaun, Watson already requested a trade. He's either not going to play for them or not play well at all. And even if he does play for them, it's not going to be well, or they're just going to be tanking. And I just don't see how this season goes well for them in any single way. So I'm going to have to be going at number 32 for the Texans, unfortunately. Moving on, number 31, the New York Jets. And the New York Jets are, honestly, a really good team. Like, I know I sound stupid, but they're a decent team, at least on the offensive end. Not too well, but Ryan Griffin at tight end. Jamison Crowder's a decent receiver. Frank Gore's, I'm not going to say too good, but he's an average running back, of course, like 76 years old, possibly. Sam Darnold is a young quarterback who was coached by an awful coach his whole entire career. Adam Gase, and Todd Bowles looks like his true job as a defensive coordinator we saw with the Bucks. And I really think that with a new coach, Sam Darnold could really become one of the league's top decent quarterbacks, maybe top 15 possibly. With a new coach, like I said, with Robert Saleh, who was just hired. So I think that the Jets definitely have a bright future with Darnold and the new head coach. But for next season, unfortunately, not going to go in their favor too much. I'm keeping them at 31 here. Moving on, Lions at 30. Now, this is an interesting team because they already made a trade, as we all know. Of course, they gave away Matthew Stafford, who they mutually parted ways with. And they were able to receive Jared Goff and a couple first-round picks and like a third from this year, I think. Definitely, I think that the Lions won the trade by a lot. I mean, in my opinion, they get a better player in Jared Goff plus 2 first-round picks. And, I think that they won the deal, but it looks like they're going to be entering rebuild mode. And unfortunately for Lions fans, no winning here is going to be happening in Detroit anytime soon. I'm really sorry. I think that they're tanking next season. They really have a decent team. And, of course, we're not saying free agency and all that. So Kenny Galladay's still going to be on the team and all that. So, I still think that they're going to be rebuilding. So, not too much winning in Detroit coming in the near future. Moving on, Jacksonville Jaguars. This team is decently good. Gardner Minshew, definitely not the greatest player, but I have them this low because their offense isn't too great yet. Of course, we still have the draft to go up. Free agency, they have one of the most money in the league. But that's for post-NFL power rankings. This is pre, so we don't know what they're going to do yet. They could possibly trade them. It's pretty obviously what they're doing with that pick, but, for now, we don't know. So I'm going to have to be going with them at 29 here. Definitely not a too talented team, but James Robinson really, showing to be one of the greatest players in this draft. Could have won Offensive Rookie of the Year. Had to be top 5 at least, but, hopefully they can improve in the post-NFL offseason power rankings. Moving on, the Falcons at 28. Of course, we all know Matt Ryan and Julio Jones. Julio Jones, a top 3 receiver in the league. The Falcons have to be higher on this list. No, Julio Jones isn't as good as he was 3-4 years ago, maybe even 5 if you want to say. Matt Ryan isn't as good as he was when he was the MVP in 2017, maybe 2016. Super Bowl 51 year when they blew the lead. But, they really don't have too bright of a future. And if we're talking about future by this season, I really don't see how much they could, how good the roster is. Calvin Ridley, a nice pick from a couple of years back, proving to be one of the best. I think that there's a chance that they take a quarterback, possibly Zach Wilson or Justin Fields at number 4. But, of course, before that, we got to go with the roster that they have now. So, going with what they have now, I'm going to have them at 28, unfortunately. Moving on, the Bengals at 27. I think that this is an accurate spot. The ACL injury to Joe Burrow, very unfortunate. So the Bengals are going to have to deal with that with injury protocols and all that. He probably won't even be back till later in the season, so they're going to have to figure out what they're going to do. I think it's possibly going to be another rebuilding season for them. I mean, if they don't have their star, as so they call star quarterback, and Joe Herbert, jeez, and Joe Burrow, I don't really see what they're gonna do. I mean, you can start Jeff Driscoll for the whole season if you want. I'm telling you, he's not gonna get you to the playoffs. Neither is Joe Burrow probably for another couple of years. But I think for now that they could probably tank and get one of the top recruits for Joe Burrow when he comes back next year fully healthy. But moving on. But yeah, I mean, I think that the Bengals definitely don't have too talented of a roster right now, so they're going to have to do some improving in the near future, plus with Joe Burrow out for the first couple weeks at least, it should be. Moving on, number 26, I got the Broncos here. Like I said in the Carson Wentz Destinations video, if you haven't watched it, go watch it, by the way. It was a banger. I thought that Drew Lock was going to be one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history coming out of college, coming out of Missouri State. He had a promising college career. Didn't turn out to be the promising NFL career that most people thought, but hasn't done the Broncos too good. Haven't made the playoffs since 2016, I think, unfortunately. And, I really don't think that they've anything planning. I don't think that they have any plans on making the playoffs next season. And for Broncos fans, I don't think you're going to be making the playoffs anytime soon. Hate to break it to you, but that's the real word. You're not making the playoffs anytime soon. Moving on, number 25, we got the Eagles. And if we talk about who the starting quarterback is going to be if the season started tomorrow, then definitely I have to go with Jalen Hurts. I mean, the Eagles will bench Carson Wentz and start Jalen Hurts if that's what they need to do. If we're talking about the season starting tomorrow, then that's what they're definitely going to do. They would bench Carson Wentz, start Jalen Hurts, and see what Hurts can do. If he doesn't do good, put in Wentz. But until then, looks like Hurts is going to be the starting quarterback to start the NFL season. So they're going to definitely have to figure out their plans because obviously a Carson Wentz trade is more than likely going to happen soon. And, we're going to be here when that happens, and we'll be seeing the changes next offseason, after the offseason. So, we'll have to see. Moving on, the Giants. Now, the Giants, I don't see having a bright season next year. Saquon Barkley coming from that ACL injury in week 2. I don't think he's going to be 100% as good as he was 2 years ago, or a year, maybe probably 2 years ago, maybe a year ago, year and a half. Daniel Jones, not the promising quarterback that the Giants thought he would be at the 8th spot, and I just don't see what the Giants can possibly do. I mean, there was a chance that they would win the NFC East this year, but of course the Eagles had to completely tank that game, put in Nate Sudfeld, and the Eagles definitely don't have the best team, but it is what it is. They're not making the playoffs. Neither are any of these teams that I'm mentioning right now next season, unless one of them jumps, but other than that, I don't really think it's going to happen. Moving on, number 23, I got the Panthers. Going by what they've now, Christian McCaffrey is still kind of injury-prone from last season, and he, in my opinion, won't be 100% like he was in his MVP season 2017, if that was. And, Teddy Bridgewater, not the franchise quarterback that I thought he was going to be, coming from the Saints going 5-0 while Drew Brees was out with that finger injury, and that money looks like almost is going to waste. I mean, you're paying him a ton of money, and he's not even putting that much into the Panthers franchise. I mean, I thought that they were going to make the playoffs, but obviously not. And last but not least, in part 1 at least, we have the Washington football team. This team isn't too good. Alex Smith is, that decent quarterback, I should say. Terry McLaurin definitely looks like he has a promising career ahead of him, but until then, I don't really think that, if we're talking about next season, I don't really see this team repeating as NFC East champions because Prescott is back. I think Zeke is going to improve again, and yeah, that's it for part 1. Not going to really rename, but that was number 32 through 22. This was kind of the boring part. If you're the action guy waiting for that, then stay tuned for part 2 and part 3 coming soon. We're going to try to get part 2 out tonight, possibly part 3, because we haven't posted in the past couple days, so Appreciate the support from everybody watching this. If you're watching on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, whatever, go check out the YouTube at No Limit Sports Talk. If you're watching on YouTube, go click the link in bio. Check out the podcast on Anchor and Spotify and Google Podcasts at No Limit Sports Talk. Again, that's going to wrap up. Hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned for part 2 and 3. It's going to be bangers. Stay tuned. Have a great day. Peace.